On se donne plus aux hommes. C'est par l'homme que la femme.
Before, loans were given mostly to men, and women had to depend on men in order to live. If the man didn't give you anything, then as the woman you had nothing. But today with credit, and because of microfinance, women have become independent.
Au départ, moi-même, j'étais commerçante.
Before, I was a seller with a little table on the street, just working from time to time. But over time, and with the help of microfinance, I have become who I am today.
Microcrédit m'a permis d'avancer.
Microfinance has allowed me to advance and grow my business. Before, I had just a little table in the market, but now I have been able to add others and others.
Microfinance is needed for the simple reason that people don't have a financial system working for them. If you say you have a road where only rich people can go, you need a road where poor people can go. You say, why do they need it? People need road. People need money to start their entrepreneurial ability, translate their ability into action so that they can take care of themselves.
The first thing to understand is that it's not like every day you get $2. Some days you get nothing, and then the harvest comes in and you might have a lot of money. And that it's the variability as much as the low levels of income that's really challenging.
Good microfinance, first of all, provides a range of financial services that people need to borrow some of the time, but they need to save all the time. They need to have some way of being able to reduce their vulnerability, which happens through savings and through insurance. And then they need some way of taking advantage of opportunities that come their way.
People who live here oftentimes have income that's very, very irregular. Or even if they have regular jobs and their income is more secure, expenditures come up out of nowhere. That means that they need to manage their money even more actively than a wealthy household. So a lot of times people say, well, if people are poor, they don't need to manage their money. But we actually found that the reverse is true.
I started selling this rice. Yes, I was only selling one bag of rice. Due to how I make profit every day, then I was able to utilize more profits and I continue selling another bag of rice.
Salimatu is one of 3,000 youths we have in Plan Sierra Leone's Youth Microfinance projects in Freetown. We have field officers come in, help mobilize the youths into groups, and they train them in how to save, how to give out a loan, how to pay back a loan, and how to do a share out of the dividend. The youths themselves come, meet weekly, and then they save through buying shares. And after 4 weeks, they start taking out loans to support themselves in either establishing a business, expanding a business, putting themselves back into school by paying their school fees and buying school materials. And they also use it to support their families.
If you have a better economic condition for families, it will have a better impact on children because family will have money to take care of those children. So, from that perspective, what we thought is if we cannot work with adults and improve their financial capacity to have savings opportunity and loan opportunity to increase their business and support their children. So, there's a direct and indirect both relationship choosing this particular program.
Ça permet à la femme d'avoir elle-même ses propres finances.
It permits women to manage their own finances, to manage their activities, and to help their husbands at home, and to help with the education of her children. We have seen women alone even, who educate their children, who are able to acquire property, and all of this is thanks to their hard work.
La plupart du temps, c'est les femmes même qui s'occupent des enfants.
Most of the time, it's the women who take care of the children, and it's women who educate their children. So microcredit allows women to take a lead financially and to take care of her children.
The one who have access versus the one who don't have access. I saw it firsthand, when I go to the rural IT and I see the ones who are part of the Concours program and the ones who are not. You see the difference in the houses, you see the difference in the kids, they are barefoot or not. You see it right away. You see it right away, and even in the eyes of the people. There's some people with light in their eyes, and some people are just, there's no light, they're almost dead. They are there, trying to survive, and that's the difference that microfinance is making in the life of those women.
Most of the women that you see here are farmers and daily wage workers, and they've taken multiple loans from several different companies. Now, the problem is that if any one of them defaults on their payments, almost all of them are held accountable, and some of them are even harassed and intimidated. These women tell us that one group member who couldn't bear the stress killed herself a week ago.
They're pressuring us for not paying the amounts on time. One girl from this village committed suicide because of this harassment.
Microfinance can also cause harm, and we look at that honestly in this report. And we look at the challenges of finding ways to make sure microfinance is used in those conditions where it can be a tool for good.
Some people took the concept of microcredit, lending money to poor people, to use it for the purpose of making money for themselves. And they became greedy, they became ambitious to make lots of money at the quickest possible time.
Certain funders ignored the fundamental vision of microfinance to help people to get out of poverty and put more emphasis of giving loans at any price to anyone, without first verifying the level of indebtedness of the person receiving them.
When you talk about microfinance, it's very important to realize there isn't one microfinance. Oversimplified, there's microfinance that's concerned most about the investors and the health of the microfinance institution. And then there's another that's most concerned about the health and well-being of the clients. That's the microfinance that makes a difference for the very poor. The good microfinance constantly asks this question and delivers the answer. What more do our clients need to get out of poverty?
Then we don't just replicate one model. We really listen to that message, which is don't be afraid to try new things and continually keep trying to work with the most vulnerable and the most marginalized populations.
Les principes d'une microfinance responsable.
The principles of responsible microfinance are the development appropriate products, preventing over-indebtedness of the clients, having responsible interest rates that are transparent, and having ethical debt collection practices, and so on and so forth.
Ça veut dire seulement les microcrédits isolés, individuels.
Microcredit by itself, isolated, does not work. It requires the engagement of the community and the state, and the support of certain services. But there must also be engagement at a social level. For example, a holistic view that asks, what do we lack? What can we create? What can we buy? Etc. That's a better approach.
Les banques villageoises, c'est le produit.
Group lending is the hallmark project of Finca. The idea is simple. It's to organize people together so that they can access a small loan. A group who are going to use their network to support one another and to guarantee the loans of each other. People who work together and manage their credit together.
But you have to take someone who you really trust, the person who really believes in you, the person who really understands where to make a step in life. That's the first step. Once you have the 5 people, you come to the Jamii Bora, any branch. When you see the branch, one of the staff of Jamii Bora, maybe a loans officer or a branch manager, will come and explain the product of Jamii Bora.
Many of our members have never borrowed money anywhere else. This is a new thing that they are doing. Therefore, we have got to help them to know how to write down the expenses, the capital that they have received, the interest that they have received, and plan so that they can be able to repay back their loans without having to misuse the funds in other things that are not necessarily important.
So if you really want people to take loan and use it for business, it's very important to first thing to do is equip them with financial education to understand whether they understand the need for savings, the mechanisms of loan, how to repay and all that stuff.
People living on $1.25 or $2 a day often live in harsh conditions that have an impact on their psychological and physical health. And these conditions often have an impact in terms of limiting their capacity to seek out opportunities and to use microfinance tools. Graduated programs are programs that follow the individual and that help them gain confidence while learning how to use these microfinance tools.
Microfinance is making a difference and helping the poorest. And it's more than a belief, I saw it firsthand. And when microfinance come, with proper accompaniment, the Chemin la Vie Meilleure program, where we do the accompaniment prior to start giving the loan. You saw them, learning how to do a living, how to feed themselves and their kids, understanding their place in the society and how they can function. Those for me are concrete examples of change.
You can't get anybody out of poverty by lifting them and saying, now you're not poor anymore, I'm paying your school fees, I'm paying the food, I've got you a house. Because the minute that nice person dies or leaves the country because he was a foreign visitor, then they'll fall down again. And then they will hurt themselves more than before. But if they climb themselves, there's no way. They might slip sometimes. The business didn't work out, they slip, but they don't go down.
It's making poverty become history. As I know, when Muhammad Yunus received the Nobel Prize, he said, maybe our grandchildren will go to the museum and see how poverty was.
Results first learned about microfinance in 1985, and in the US, the first lobbying was in 1986-87. And with legislation in 87, there were 100 editorials generated. We had a conference call with Muhammad Yunus of the Grameen Bank, and there were editorial writers from 28 US cities on a phone call with him 19 years before he won the Nobel Peace Prize.
There are enough resources in this world to eliminate extreme poverty. What's missing is really the political will. The political will to put in place cost-effective and proven solutions. One of these solutions is microfinance. For over 25 years, Results Canada and its volunteers have been working to increase access to microfinance.
They're not working as a paid workers or something, but passionate about what they are doing. It's passionate not for one day out of a year or one day out of a month. It's a continuous feeling of this is an issue that they want to stand for and want to spend time with it. So that's what characterized the Results volunteers. They keep in touch with each other. They became a kind of a community, or I would say a tribe by themselves. And it is a spread. It's a very infectious kind of feeling that they pass on to each other.
Results gave me the tools to speak out about them, and they say, you can meet with your MP, that you can have a say on where foreign aid goes.
At the World Bank, the impact of Results was significant because I was able to see from the inside how the engagement of people from the outside expressing their interest and their concern in a smart and targeted way had an impact in helping things move internally. And the result of that is actually millions of dollars that went to Africa that otherwise would not have gone there.
Everyone wants to leave the campsite cleaner than they found it, but it gets buried by you can't make a difference, you can't fight City Hall, no one will listen to me. Take that stuff off. Join a results group. Get partners around you so you're not alone. and make the difference you've always dreamed of making.
You have the power to end poverty.
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 You have the power to end poverty.